Mr. Chairman. Chairman Bishop, I appreciate that, and Chairman Hastings and Ranking Member Grijalva. Thank you for taking this up. This is an important hearing. Sleeping Bear National Lakeshore Conservation and Recreation Act. The legislation which sets before you really is about establishing reasonable boundaries, preserving historic landmarks, protecting private property both within and around the property, around the park, and maintains hunting and fishing rights exercised for generations. And more importantly, as Chairman Hastings was talking about, there has been broad local input. It enjoys broad public support in Michigan, especially locally. It's bipartisan, bicameral sponsorship in Congress, and it really protects a popular unit of the national park system in our state. I'd also like to thank Chairman Dave Camp for partnering with me in this effort and leading and being here as a co-lead in the House, as well as Congressman Benishek and Congressman Kildee, who were co-sponsors of this bill, H.R. 977. Earlier this year, with over 100,000 votes nationwide, Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore was named the most beautiful place in America by ABC's Good Morning America, beating such locales as Aspen, Colorado, Cape Cod, Massachusetts, Hawaii, Sedona, Arizona, and with an annual visitation of about 1.2 million people. It's estimated that the economic impact of $78 million locally is significant. And I can tell you that maintaining and protecting access to the lakeshore is absolutely vital as a part of that economy, because it is entirely dependent on tourism, tourism and agriculture up in that area. Chairman Hastings had referenced a little bit about that broad local input, and Chairman Bishop, you referenced quote-unquote locking up the land as being significant. I could not agree with you more. And quite honestly, the road to this piece of legislation has not been an easy one. In 2002, I was the district director for my predecessor, Peter Hoekstra. At that time, the district was coming out of Congressman Bart Stupak's, or I'm sorry, this county was coming out of Congressman Bart Stupak's district, going and being split into both Peter Hoekstra and Dave Camp's district. I remember a press conference up there at the time that had Carl Levin, Bart Stupak, Pete Hoekstra, Dave Camp, all on the same page saying, hey, wait a minute, we need to hit the timeout button here. And that was because the National Park Service had really ignored public input and had developed a management plan that would have brought the park back to, quote, pre-Columbian era. And they were talking about tearing up all the county roads to the beaches, destroying many historic landmarks, and making sure that the park was virtually inaccessible to the public. And that was just viewed as completely unacceptable. This quickly resulted, as you can imagine, is just an amazing outcry in northern Michigan and the eventual formation of Citizens for Access to the Lakeshore, or CAL, a representative of which, Ron Lessimer, who is here behind me, will be joining you later in that next panel. In 2009, after 8 years of collaboration among the parks officials, road commissions, chambers of commerce, local private business people, Rotary clubs, and virtually every other stakeholder imaginable, the Park Service finalized and adopted a new management plan with vast support throughout the community. Is it unanimous? No. Is it vast? Absolutely. There is a consensus within the community that this is the direction to go. The plan embodied in this legislation is a balanced proposal that will ensure access to this popular resource, protecting hunting and fishing, preserving private property rights, while protecting those most fragile aspects. I believe that an important responsibility of Congress is to also hold the executive branch accountable for their actions, particularly when they don't consult the public. This started in 1970. It was also done in the early 1980s, and then in 2002. It's been over Republican and Democrat Republican and Democrat administrations, but Congress needs to recognize and act on those policies and recommendations when the public has been fully engaged, which is what has happened here. This is a perfect example of that. H.R. 977 has done that. Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore Conservation and Recreation Act demonstrates how the process can and frankly should work. The local citizens and stakeholders have invested significant time and effort in working with us, with the National Park Service, and in developing the appropriate policies for the area. Again, I'd like to thank the committee for recognizing the high level of local involvement that has gone into this, and it's my hope that the full committee will soon send this bill before the full House of Representatives, and I appreciate being here with you today.